And welcome everyone to the webinar. We're really excited to do a first look on the CloudStack 4.21 release, which is the upcoming CloudStack release. Marco, can you jump to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
Before we start the webinar, let me just present you the panelists today. Me, obviously, I'm Yvette Petrova, working as a marketing director at Cheibu and being also Apache CloudStack PMC member. And the rock star of today's webinar will be my colleague, Marco Signorelli, who is working as a technical marketing manager at Cheibu and is also a project committer. Marco has more than 25 years of experience in the IT industry. For the last 12 years, he has been working and contributing to the CloudStack project. He's bridging the gap between the technical side and the business side. He's not only a CloudStack expert and committer, but someone who has helped numerous organizations to design and build their CloudStack environment. Marco is now working closely with the CloudStack community and is contributing to the new features and releases which are driving the project forward. Next slide, Marco. The agenda for today, the webinar will be approximately 50 minutes. We know it's a little bit longer, but we would kindly ask everybody to be patient so that we can cover all of the highlights of the new release. And Marco will be also doing a live demo of the major features included in the new release. At the end, for approximately 10 minutes, we will have questions and answers. If you have any questions during Marco's presentation or during the live demos, please use the Q&A tab, which is on the bottom of your screen. We will be also monitoring the chat, but we want to keep an eye on everything, so we don't want to miss something. Just use the Q&A tab. Next slide. About this release. The CloudStack 4.21 release will be actually live next week. That's what we know from the community. It's a joint effort for the last approximately 8 months of numerous project committers and PMC members. The major highlights in it are the CloudStack extension framework, the SDN integration, the GPU support, a lot of UI improvements on the backup and recovery. The release consists of more than 140 improvements and 14 new major features. Marco will be jumping straight away to presenting the first feature, but before that, I would just kindly ask you to fill in a quick survey, which we will be launching. The survey is basically asking what's your experience with CloudStack. We would like to understand a little bit more about the audience so that Marco knows the level of detail to which he should go while doing the demos. You should be seeing the survey on your screen. Meanwhile, I'm seeing that there are more people who are joining the webinar. Let's wait for a few more seconds. That will give the word to Marco. Thank you, everyone, for filling in the survey. My colleague Jamie on the back end can close it now. Marco, it's your turn to talk about the extension framework.
Welcome, everybody, and it's a pleasure to present to you the new features to the new release of Apache CloudStack 4.21. And I will start to talk about the everything as a service extension framework. So why did they need a new framework like this in CloudStack? That's exactly what this extension framework can solve. First, it's too hard to add a new hypervisor integration into CloudStack because you need to change a lot of part in the core of Apache CloudStack, and for sure it's too hard to maintain it as well. And the Everything as a Service extension framework was created to change this paradigm that the hard it is to integrate a new resource into CloudStack. Its goal is to enable anyone with a specific integration need, for example, to extend CloudStack easier without modifying the core system. This transforms CloudStack into a flexible orchestration hub capable of managing external platform through well-defined extension point. We expect more contribution from the community over time, adding support for other platforms. So in CloudStack 4.21, we introduced this extension that it is a foundation that enable CloudStack to integrate with external systems in a standardized and powerful way. So there are many scenarios where this extension framework add values. For example, it's a foundation for multi-hypervisor workloads, so make it possible to integrate with edge or legacy platforms. It supports legacy or non-native hypervisor like Hyper-V or Proxmox. It can orchestrate as well bare metal with, you prepare some integration for that, using platforms such as MAS. It's possible to connect to hyperscalers, for example, to launch a resource in the Amazon, Google Cloud, and Azure. And it can manage firewall, network appliances, extend CloudStack to reach for beyond virtualization. So this new feature is considered, it's a new resource type managed using the user interface or the API. It executes external script, it's not inside of CloudStack, it's an external script with using JSON input and output to manage this resource. Also support core instance lifecycle actions. And if you want to extend, for example, to do other operations, you can customize it, for example, to backup and snapshot. It, for example, for custom workloads, it is integrated with CloudStack Airbag. And in this release in 4.21, you have a sample built-in Proxmox and Hyper-V in the CloudStack 4.21. In practice, the CloudStack send lifecycle or custom operation request to the extension. So the extension can be a script, it can be a binary that will communicate using JSON to pass parameters and receive a result from the external platform. And with this approach, you can integrate virtually any external system into the CloudStack, and like it could be if it were a native resource. So let's see it in action. In this demo, you show deploy an instance using Proxmox as a regular use, and it triggers some lifecycle actions. And after you show how to configure an external Proxmox environment and how to register a new template. So the first thing, let me log out here and log in as a regular user. And let's say to create a new instance, the first thing you need to have a supported template for Proxmox, like you need to have a supported template for KVM or VMware. And you can select here the compute offering into CloudStack to reflect it in the Proxmox side. So also the network, in that case, it's a native CloudStack network. So I use this one because you can after use load balancer, firewall rules, etc. in the CloudStack side to manage the traffic to the Proxmox as well. After that, let me just create a new instance, define a name, and launch it. So it starts to launch. I am here connected to Proxmox cluster. So after some time, you see the call here. So it cloned the template in 9001. It's a Debian 12. And start it and already configured, and you have here the instance running, so you can see the console. So it's booting, already booting here, and done. So in the CloudStack side, the instance is here, is running, so you can manage some resource, something like network, so you can apply some, for example, port forwarding, let's say 22, add it, and the instance is here to apply the port forwarding rules to the instance. Also, you can, for example, in the instance too, you can stop the instance if you want, if you need it. It will reflect in the Proxmox side. Alright, send, and the instance is stopped here. You can start it. The same will happen in the Proxmox side. So it started, 101 here, done. And you can also, for example, use custom actions so to create, for example, an ad snapshot. I have this example here to show you. So I will create my snap. I will copy it because I will delete it after to show it happening. So if you go, you have here my snap created, and in the CloudStack UI it will pop up that it was performed. So also can use another action, let me say, to delete the snapshot. The same will happen here. It was deleted in the Proxmox side, and it will pop up in the CloudStack UI for the users in that case. So let's understand in terms of administration how it works in CloudStack. So the first thing, we have here a new option in the lateral bar. So with two built-in extension. Let's say I have the Proxmox. In that case, as I am using the Proxmox cluster here, so I already have a cluster. So, and I have this for custom action. When you add a new custom action, you need to define a name, you need to write it in the script side, and also you have the allowed role types to perform any operation. You can limit it for only admin, you can use it for resource admin and domain admin, and so after you need to parameterize it to send the information to the Proxmox. So I already have this done. So templates in that case need to be created in a different way of the regular like VMware, VMware and server. So you need first to install an instance. In that case, I installed Debian 12 and convert it into a template. And after I have this Proxmox here, I just need to pass some parameters during the creation. No need to insert URL, anything else. I just put a name here. So in the settings, I have template type template, because it is a template in the Proxmox side. It is treated as well by the extension, and template ID, in that case, 9001, like I have here 9001. So it uses this template to create new instances into Proxmox. In the infrastructure, you have a Proxmox cluster like your other clusters you have, and you have hosts as well, like you have other hosts. In that case, it is using the external type of hypervisor. So if you navigate for one of these, you can check, for example, editing some variables you need to take care when setting the Proxmox server to connect to the CloudStack. So in that case, I use a token user in the Proxmox side, the URL of this host, the secret key of the token, The network I use in the Proxmox side, I created a bridge with CloudBR1 connected to the same flow of the physical network of other hypervisor I have here in this environment. The node name, and in that case, I skipped the TLL certificate. So in the Proxmox side, I needed just to go to the main here. The first thing is let me go here to the system. Sorry, he's here in data center. The API token, you need to create a new API token. So when you create a new API, you need to set some parameters. This is very well documented, so you can access the documentation of this integration after. And you need to apply permission to list to VMS and with the role PVA admin. So for the user group and API token root PAM CloudStack. Let's jump to the next feature now. So GPU as a first class resource. So this is another major enhancement in 4.21. So it enables native GPU management for KVM hosts, treating the GPU as a first class resource in CloudStack, like a CPU or memory, for example, in CloudStack. Why this feature? So previously was possible to create instances using GPU. So for example, some way to create this is using KVM Groovy based agent hooks, out of band configuration, that it means hacking the hypervisor. Old GPU and vGPU support with XenServer is a very, very old one, integration. And so, but it was never been out of the box feature. That's an important point to say. So in 4.21, it unlocks a wide range of workloads, for example, VDI environment and high performance processing video, GPU enabled Kubernetes pods, CAD application, cryptocurrency, and big data, data analytics, etc. So, and it is treated as a first class resource. So the user can consume it like consume, for example, CPU or memory in the compute offering. It's important to say that this feature is not for only one vendor. It is completely agnostic of vendor. So technically, CloudStack now auto-discover the GPU and vGPU profile via the KVM agent. So you need to set the profile in the KVM side, and after it is reflect to the KVM agent, and CloudStack can list all of this. It supports both pass-through and vGPU modes, expose resource and compute offering, and track allocation, how many GPU is available, and each one is used by some virtual machine, etc. And you can limit it per account and domain as well. And now of this is integrated into life cycle and scheduling, providing a unified way to manage GPU for different workloads. On the host side, GPU can be used in two modes. The default mode is passed through once you have it plugged in your host, and so in enabling VTD, IO, MMU, for example. You need to do some setup there, like backlist Novo Drive, install CloudStack KVM agent, and after that, you have already passed through. If you want to use a vGPU mode, so it will split the physical GPU into multiple virtual GPU, since it is supported by the vendor, and that allow instance to share the same GPU card. So it's really interesting for consume resource by the users. This diagram shows how CloudStack interacts with the GPU hardware So in this example, I have two NVIDIA connected A10 cards. It is split into multiple vGPU for VDI, one of these, the other one for the pass-through. So in this CloudStack, after that, it's configured, it handles the discover, profile creation, and allocation track, ensuring, in that case, consistency governance, and you can provide to the users computer offering with support to the VDI, to the GPU for VDI workloads and machine learning, artificial intelligence using, in that case, NVIDIA CUDA cores. So let's see it in action. It's a pre-record, so you don't have hardware in our lab, so you pre-record it using a hardware, and you can see how it works properly using these two NVIDIA cards. So in this video, you'll see how the GPU appear in the CloudStack UI, how we create a GPU backend compute offering, deploy instance, and then verify the GPU usage in both Windows and Linux guest instances. So the first thing here, as you can see, let me check play here. Okay. In the infrastructure, I already have a host with GPU. You have a new tab for the host. So you can see here two GPU cards. And the profile you define it in the host will reflect in the CloudStack UI. So I have here one GPU physical for pass-through and many others for vGPU. I can remove any of these. If I click Discover GPU device, it will reflect what exactly you have in the KVM side. One thing important here is the compute offering. Now, our compute offering with GPU support is tagged as GPU enabled. So when creating a new compute offering, you have a new option. You can select the GPU card. So, and after you can select the profile available in the CloudStack. You can define the number of GPU this computer offering will have, and you can set it to be used as a display for VDI workloads, for example. So now let's create a new instance with support. So when selecting a computer offering, you have a new option to show only GPU enable offering. So you can select one GPU here, and after the regular, as you do normally when create a new instance. So click to launch it. So you have it running with the GPU card. Let's navigate inside the instance to take a look. This view is an admin view. As you can see here, I am logged in as admin. So you can see the summary, the number of GPU card, vGPU connected, and the device. In terms of device, you can see, for example, the which is associated with this instance. This is the view of user view. So I'm connected with CloudStack user here. And so one important part here is related with some operation can do with CloudStack. You have a new option in global settings to detach the GPU when you stop the instance. It's very useful, for example, to make the resource available to others' workloads. So let me stop the instance to show how it works. So when I stop the instance, in that case, the GPU will continue allocated to the instance, as you can see here. So let's change it, start this instance again, and go to the global settings and enable GPU detach on stop. I will stop the instance again here. And after that, if you go to the infrastructure host, you'll see that there is no allocation because the instance is stopped. So also you can track the number of GPU available in your environment. So in that case, I have 10 GPU, including pass-through or vGPU in just one usage domain. So you can set limits for domains, and also you can set the limits for the account. So here you can see. And let's take a look now at working on the Linux system first. Once I already have the instance configured with the computer offering with GPU, you can see using ls PCI the cards, the virtual cards connected here. And using the application of NVIDIA, because I'm using NVIDIA in that case, you can see the CUDA version used and the profiles using, in that case, I'm using A10-2Q, 2 in that case, and the hardware characteristics, the address and the memory. For Windows, I am using the GPU test just to perform some tests in a Windows VM. So you can see the GPU being used here. So once I stop it, so it will stop to use as well. That's all about the GPU I want to demonstrate today. Let's move to the next feature is Netris SDN integration. So again, why this integration? CloudStack already has SDN integration, for example, VMware NSX, Tungsten Fabric. This is a new network integration, new SDN integration that enable organization to use Netris with KVM hypervisor. So it enables full stack software defined networking with native API level control between CloudStack and Netris controller. This feature is designed for multi-tenant infrastructure as a service, as it reflects exactly the same that CloudStack do in a regular environment with VLAN isolation. Support hybrid cloud deployment across data center and edge location, automate network for both bare metal and virtual workloads, and Netris as well include integrated firewall, NAT, and load balance, and provide complete SDN governance for operation. Technically, this integration delivers a VXLAN-based network segmentation with two main routing mode, the route mode for public IP tiers and NATed mode supporting source NAT, destination NAT, and one-to-one NAT. So it supports inter-tier routing as well inside the VPC. It's very important to say that only VPC is supported with Netris. So you can have a granular ACL like you do in a regular cloud with CloudStack for both VPC tiers and public network, and external and internal load balancing as well like you use in the regular CloudStack. And the usual CloudStack virtual route. So you need to continue using virtual routing, not for routing proposal, NAT propose in that case, just for the ACP, DNS, user data, and password management. Let's take a look how to create a zone with support with Netris. So it's continuing same, you do the unique difference. In that case, you need to select the KVM hypervisor because NAT support only KVM in CloudStack. So In that case, isolation method, you need to select metrics. You don't need to set traffic labels, so it's managed by NetRes itself. After to add the controller, you need to provide a name. So select the user will connect, also the endpoint. It's important to say that the user needs to have some characteristics to permit all, and also for all tenants, and it need to be in editable enabled. So after insert the credential, you need to provide the site name in the NetRes side. You navigate to the network, to sites, and after you can add a new site if you want. The site is defined, it could be a data center, for example. Insert the name there. The tenant you use it, in that case, you use the admin, you need something similar to that. The tag is to identify the data center CloudStack implementation using it. And after that, you need to add some networks for public traffic. The first one is to the system VMs. The second one for load balancer, for virtual router, etc., using in virtual router. And so you need to set as well VXLAN for the traffic. After that, you need to add a new one related to using load balancer, etc. So after this added, so you need to provide, like any other CloudStack zone, the information about pod, about the cluster, hosts, etc. Here is an important part. It's not a VLAN. You need to set a range of VXLAN that will be the networks created, the VPC networks, the tiers in that case created in CloudStack side. Cluster name like regular KVM hosts, etc. Primary and secondary storage. And that's it. So other thing, let me go to the dashboard here. So I already have a zone created here. As you can see, my zone is a NetRes latest here. So when create, for example, VPC, for example, you have some VPC offering. So you need to select NetRes for routing mode, or NetRes for net moding. So I already have one of these here. When creating, for example, networks, as well, you need to define a name and select the offering. It's not this one, I think it's the other one. Wait a minute, let me check this one here. So network. So in that case, you're using IPv6 just to exemplify you. And dual is possible as well with IPv6 and IPv4. So, but when create a new VPC, you need to select the zone and the CIDR. VPC offering, you need to select in that case for net, NetRes for net, or for routing. Let me select net just to create it, to exemplify it, need a little bit time. But after our operation using ACL, it's equal you use in the CloudStack, in normal regular CloudStack. The user is not impacted if you're using SDN with NetRes in CloudStack. It's the same way to create resources and manage resource and network resource in CloudStack. So let's move to the next feature. Automatic instance lease. So this feature first is designed for the user that have want to control the life cycle operation of their workloads, setting in that case expiry time at the moment of deployment. So it is the why this feature exists. So many times we forgot some resource created and it continue consuming resource in the infrastructure, and this feature come in direction to solve this problem. Let's explore what it can do and how it can help you to manage resource more efficiently. So this feature is particularly useful in scenarios where the workloads are temporary. That's the point. For example, the development, testing, quality assurance environments, training labs, hackathons, where the environment needed to expire after the event. Proof of concept demos and marketing campaign with a fixed lifetime. And also, for example, universities, classroom labs, where the resources are shared and need scheduled reset. Continue integration and continue deployment pipelines that run short-lived ephemeral workloads. This feature can, for example, with this feature, you can configure a lease in days, defining what's happening when it expires, either stopping the instance or destroying it. When you destroy it, it will preserve the volumes related to the instance. The lease is set at deployment, instance deployment, either through the compute offering or in advanced settings, and can be edited before, in that case, of expiry. Once the configured action is taken, the lease is completely removed. You can enable, for example, an instance, you can enable it after the instance. Can't to enable it after the lease is removed from the instance. If the deletion, you have a feature in CloudStack, deletion protection. So if it is enabled, the destroy action will be skipped. So it works only for stopping action. By default, the lease is disabled and needed to be enabled in the global settings. Just two examples. For example, I create a new instance. I am in the deploy time, and the lease duration is 5 days, and the lease expiry action is stop. After 5 days, it will be stopped in the instance. Will remain stopped until someone go there and start it again. But in that case, the lease as well will be completely removed, and you can't apply it again in that instance. Another use case here, for example, in the deploy time, I set the duration for 5 days, the lease expiry action to destroy. After 5 days, it will be destroyed, but it will maintain the volume of the instance into the CloudStack. So just a small, first thing you need to set it in the global set as I told. So this is the variable you need to set there. When creating, for example, a compute offering, you have an option to enable lease. So you can define for the compute offering a lease in days, in that case, and set the action when it expires. When create an instance and you use a regular compute offering without this, the lease enabled, you can go to advanced mode and enable a lease and set the duration and the action as well. That's it. So next, let's look at the CloudStack Kubernetes services enhancement. So it's important to say that we already have a Kubernetes integration from 3 or 4 years, I think, and also a cluster API provider integrated with CloudStack. So the Kubernetes services, we have now new improvements, and you'll talk a little bit about this. So you can now, for example, deploy a dedicated etcd nodes. I think some workload need a separated, segregated etc node to the cluster. So it could be interesting because it reflects the workloads you want to deploy into the CloudStack and give you much more flexibility in terms of resilience and cluster design. Operator as well can choose a custom template and select their preferred CNI plugins during the deployment. Each node type can have its own compute offering, and it's an interesting part because you don't need to choose the same compute offering for all components into the cluster. So it's a part that I'll explain a little bit after. A manual on update flag is included as well, if available, to give administrator full control over upgrade timing, for example. And the last one is a cluster can now be deployed on a dedicated host or cluster for isolation and compliance. So let me do a demo related to this new feature. So the first thing here, just to exemplify here, templates. So when registering a new template, you have this option that it means that this template is for CloudStack Kubernetes service. So once created, you can use it when creating a new Kubernetes. So when creating it, for example, so you have a new option here, show advanced settings. So you select it, and for the control node, for the workers, and for etcd, you have options to select the compute offering. For example, some workloads need the control nodes not big like the worker nodes, for example. So you can select a different Kubernetes templates to use for the control node instead to use the system VM one. That is the default. Will continue being the default one. The same one, you can select a service offering for workers and the template as well if you need it. And the etc node, when you set it, for example, I want to have one etc node, it will enable you to select the service offering and the template for etc node you want to use. Also for CNI, I already have a script for Calico here. So once you select it, I can use, for example, if you have a routed network, you can select the AS number, peer IP address, and peer AS number to use the Calico in that case. Other thing is when you have, for example, you are in a ready Kubernetes, so you have the option to upgrade the Kubernetes cluster here. So you just select, I don't have a new version here, just to exemplify it's possible to update the Kubernetes from this point and also add nodes. I don't have a node, so when you have a work node running as a VM, you can create a Kubernetes, add it as a work node to the Kubernetes cluster. So let's move to the next feature. Important feature, I mean, because the first thing is the why related to the create instance from backup Previously, we have complicated process, really. I assume that you have a complicated process to recover an instance from a backup. So before you needed to convert the backup into a volume and then a template, and then you can create an instance based on template. So now it is much more straight to the point that you want to recover an instance, just go and create it from the backup. So for now, it supports only the NAS backup, the native one in CloudStack VM provider. So in the future, we will have, with collaboration with the vendors, the Dell network and Backroll to integrate this feature as well to them. So it's important to say that this feature allows you to deploy a new instance directly from an existing backup. And when available, these details are automatically populated in the deployment. For example, the complete metadata included the original template, compute offering, network offering, IP and MAC addresses, and other configuration you have there. So when you consider, for example, all the backup made before the 4.21, so you need manually enter the required information to create a new instance. Just a demo here as well. So in the storage, I already have some backups here, as you can see. When clicking in the backup instead, so this is the metadata I have, it's a template, the compute offering, the information related to the network is attached, the settings, extra settings, etc. But you have a new option here is create new instance from backup plus the other you have a restore and attach as a volume or restore instance backup. So when you create a new instance, so you can define a new name, and as I told you, all instance metadata here will be replied to the new instance. If you have, for example, the original instance running, the IP address and the MAC address will be changed. So, and you have an option, for example, to custom some parts here. So in that case, it's not possible to change the template, but you can change the compute offering, for example, selecting a different compute offering, select a different network if you need it, and so select a name or change something related to advanced options, for example, other thing you need here, define a name, and so you just start it, you create a new instance directly from backup. So let's move to the next feature. This is a nice one. So in terms of user experience, it simplifies the life of the user when deploy a new instance, for example. So behind of this feature, you have some characteristics that help the users to understand and the administrator how to manage these new features. So the CloudStack UI for deployment new instance have been redesigned, and so it's very easy, for example, to search templates or to deploy from a snapshot or existing root volumes. So it's a really interesting feature. So also was included the guest OS category where you can create a new guest OS category to, for example, OpenBSD, and after you can map it with the guest if you want. The category assign on template creation and edition, and so backward compatible with the existing templates in the previous CloudStack releases as well. Just quick look, it's very simple now. You can select the OS category and you have some changes here related to type from where you want to create a new instance. Let's take a look on a little bit how it works in the CloudStack side. So the first thing is the configuration. You have now the OS categories. So I create a new one is OpenBSD. Is this one here. So it's very simple. You need to define a name and it is or not featured during the instance creation form. So that's it. So after that, you go to guest OS. Let me search here for OpenBSD. So I created two types here. So you need just to associate with OpenBSD. It's very simple as well. You define the OS name and the category it is related to. Once that, if you go to compute instance and add a new instance, the first thing, most important thing here, you have new options here. But let's navigate to the OpenBSD. So I have one template already linked to this category and this OS, so I can select it in a way from this part here. Also, if you want to create an instance from volume, I already have a volume here. I just select the volume, and so I can create directly from the root volume. I already have here, and also from a snapshot. So you can select the existing snapshot and create the instance from this snapshot. Let's move to the next release. Backup and object store limits. So for a long time you don't have this. We already have backup integration for a while. So object store create, I think 1 or 2 years. So but you don't have limits for backup and object store. And now we integrate it to the CloudStack. The community help us to provide this new feature as well. So it separate limits for backup in object store configurable per account and or domain. So like other resource you have, this feature set separated limit for both, so and enforce it at the operation time. For example, blocking any action that would reach the limits. It supports native and compatible backup in object store provider. Just a simple demo, so you can see here limits for number of backups per account or per domain, and also the amount of volume, the volume amount for backup storage and also to object store, and the maximum number of buckets per object, per account or domain in the object store. And the last one in the CloudStack 4.21, we have integrated now the Virtual Trusted Platform module or VTPM. So support is now available for both KVM and also VMware Hypervisor. This feature enable either at instance deployment or later through an API update, for example. Its state is preserved across reboots and migrations and ensure continuity. Each instance is assigned to a dedicated VTPM device, preventing any data leakage between workloads, for example. So I usually demonstrate it's not complicated feature, so I will demonstrate how it is in the CloudStack UI. So in terms of templates, if you go to a new template like this one here, you have settings. So I already have some of these set it here. When you select, for example, TPM version, you have two versions, 1.2 and 2.0. And also model, you can select between the TIS and CRB, in that case for KVM, and you can set to default this template to boot only using with I in security mode. So that's it, was included for VTPM. I think this feature is very important for organization that need to use this kind of characteristic to maintain the compliance. So that's me for now for the demo. Thank you, guys. I will pass now to Yvette.
Thank you very much, Marco. A round of virtual applauses for Marco, who has managed to show us all these amazing features and live demo of most of them. The webinar is being recorded, so after we finish in the next days, you can check for the full recordings, and we will be sending the webinar slides to everybody who has registered. A few final words from me. We have two upcoming CloudStack events. So if you have questions and if you want to adopt CloudStack or you are currently in a proof of concept stage, you can join either the CloudStack European User Group, which will happen on September 18th in London, or you can register and come to the biggest CloudStack community gathering in Milan in November. That's the CloudStack Collaboration Conference. So we're just on time. So yeah, once again, a round of applause for Marco, and stay tuned for our blog post with answers of the rest of the more than 20 questions. Enjoy the day and goodbye.
Goodbye.